everyone. Today is February the 7th, 2020. It's a Friday, so Jasmine came back from IMSA High School and we just had a dinner together. It's a very enjoyable, relaxing Friday. But the week has been very stressful. It is for me, and I really say thank God it's Friday. How do you think about stress, Jasmine, especially in high school?
Well, at my high school, it's very easy and very frequent to get stressed because assignments pile up or there's a lot of tests all in one day. So stress is definitely very common where at my school.
Then, how do you manage stress? Do you have a strategy?
Um, Normally for stress, how I the easiest way for me to just to handle stress is to hang out with my friends because that way it kind of gets my mind off of like whatever's bothering me and it's just a good way to relax. And if I can, to go to the gym, but sometimes like the time that I am stressed, the gym might be closed or things like that. So the easiest thing to do for me is just like meet up with some of my friends or maybe take like a trip somewhere off campus for like an hour. Yeah.
I see, I see. Why do you think exercise can relieve stress? Exercise itself, you have to sweat, you have to focus on getting the motions, activities done right. It can be very stressful itself, isn't it?
Well, definitely when you're stressed, you don't always like feel like getting up and going to the gym. But I always know after I work out, I always get like a burst of energy, and I feel much like more fresh and just really better in general. So I kind of force myself to go to the gym because I know I'll feel good afterwards. So yeah.
All right. So exercise is a good stress releaser. And do you have time to do regular exercise last week?
Normally, yeah. So right after school, I have about an hour or so to go and work out.
I see. Spending time with friends is relaxing, that's true. But do you have the luxury when you are available, they're available, or everyone's busy, tied up with what they have to
So
do?
definitely, it's hard to like all meet up at once, like as a massive group. So it's easier to like meet up with one, like several people. Like it's definitely not easy as a ginormous group of like 10 people, but it's pretty easy to find maybe two people who are free at that time. So yeah.
I see. For me, sometimes just being quiet and spend time to reorganizing my thought, have a mental checklist of things. That helps me. Is the me time, downtime. Have you found that being important?
Well, definitely, I realized that at IMSA it's very difficult to have like alone time or be by yourself because everywhere there's people. When you're in the main building, there's people. In your room, you have a roommate. So it's very difficult to have that time to yourself, but it is possible. So sometimes, like maybe just going to a study area and sit at your own table. I do that like I have some mods off, and during my mods off, I like to just sit at a table by myself some days to like just focus, like listen to some music by myself, which is really
Right,
nice.
right. By the way, the mod is just like there's a hour of
Yeah.
class time that you don't have any class, you can use as self-study or free time, right? Okay, and I also found adequate sleep is very good stress releaser because if I'm sleep deprived, I'm agitated, I feel just on the edge,
Yeah.
irritable. Is that something you had experience with too?
So normally during my week, I kind of know which days I'm gonna be the most stressed. So like this week, I knew Wednesday I'd be extremely stressed because on top of like we had a mandatory testing, we had a 2 hour presentation for our courses for next year. It was very jam packed, and I had other meetings along with it. So what I did was the night before I slept very early, preparing for the day because I knew that next day I'd probably sleep later. So just like knowing or like kind of having an idea of your schedule throughout the week helps you plan ahead a lot.
Right.
So like the day before Wednesday, I slept really early, and then on Wednesday I slept pretty late. But then on Thursday I slept early. That way I know when to sleep late, and also at the same time I need my rest. So
Right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, that's happened to me too because every weekend I use every hour to recuperate and
Yeah.
especially on Sunday night I start to think ahead to next week, where I have to be, what I have to do. and then be mentally prepared and know each steps to a certain degree that will really make the day flows easier, right? Right. But what about, we're all ladies, we have our cycles, up and downs, and I know you are still young, but even in your age, I think there are probably some swings based on your period, your other things. Do you feel that?
Yes, a
How
lot.
how do you handle that? Do you?
Like on Wednesday,
Uh-huh.
I was not walking properly. Like I was walking like I was an 80-year-old because my back hurt a lot and I couldn't focus, and I started stressing out a lot over that because I had two tests the next day, and I almost started like crying because I was like, I need to focus, but I just spent like the last 3 hours trying to focus and not being able to. Like took 2 pills of medicine, like it didn't do anything, so it's kind of like hopeless sometimes. But then I took a break, went to the gym, and then after it was much better. But definitely like it's very difficult at times because you have so much stuff to do, but you can't focus, or like you
Right.
can't, and
Right.
that can be very frustrating.
Right. I think there are a lot of tips that we may have a separate topic of discussion. But for female, we're entitled to be having our mood swing because our hormones swing. But indeed, that make life less predictable because even if we plan the date, plan things perfectly, but if time happens, we're not in our best performance, it's very hard to compete. I think for guys, their hormone level is much more monotonic, that they probably have more constant performance. I don't know, but that's something, we all have to think about our own um, style and our what we probably run into. Just if that happens to you, don't feel you're alone. It's definitely something happened to many girls, women, and even when we're older. So about stress, do you guys talk about stress at school?
I talk about it a lot, almost too much, because like it's very repetitive. Every Wednesday we have something called navigation. It's mandatory for sophomores, and for the first like month, all we talked about was stress management, what to do when you're stressed. And then we have wing programming, which is at 10 p.m. some days, and just over stress. It was basically the same advice, like manage your time, sleep. But sometimes you can't do that. Sometimes you're too busy. Like if you have 5 hours of homework, you can't do that in 1 hour, no matter how efficient you are. And some days when you're stressed, you can't really do anything about it. You can try, but it doesn't always work. So like, it's very repetitive information. The best way to learn how to handle stress for me was just to experience it. It definitely took me a while to see, like, not to sleep very late every day, how not to get stressed throughout the entire week, and just to be like more confident, like don't always stress about school, or else it was very difficult for me to sleep some nights because like thinking about the next day. So just being confident in how much work you've done, like it took a lot of experience for me because just saying it doesn't really help. Like every Wednesday saying, don't be stressed, it's gonna be okay. Well, depending on who you are, it's not always like that easy, So experience was mainly what taught me how to handle stress.
Right. Oh, that's very good. Because when you experience those stressed moments, then you know how to handle it. If you are very inexperienced and then you encounter some challenges, you may run into a breakdown. But the other thing I have learned this last couple of years is meditation. Because I think meditation, especially guided meditation, is like you indulge in those very comforting and relaxing words. Because you like, say, sometimes you may want ice cream. Meditation is almost like mental ice cream for me because those are the words I like to hear. They're going to say, you are doing well if you keep doing. Even though it's just the words, but I still feel that recharge me mentally. I don't. Have you had some similar experience?
Well, for me, meditation doesn't really like work as well as it does on you. Mainly, I just listen to music. I really like music of like multiple genres, but for me, listening to music helps me a lot. That's partially why I like working out, because it's a time where I can just listen to music basically, but at the same time do something along with it. So
what music you like to listen?
Like when I work out, it's not like calming. I listen to like rap and stuff like that. But when I'm studying, I listen to more calming music, or just like music with no lyrics, like just beats normally.
Right. Yeah. I think there are music even designed to help our mental wavelength.
Yeah, there's like alpha waves.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, those just don't work.
Studying the mechanism of action.
Yeah.
But you know, for me, when I was in my high school, when I tried to do the very complex physics math question, I listened to those pop music. Now they're very old. A lot of you guys probably don't listen at all, but even in my age now, I'm still listening those music because they help me focus, they help me tune in to what I want to think through. Really, that's the magic, because nowadays I'm just not adapted to the what's that English British singer, Beyonce.
I don't listen to her. I don't know.
They are very popular, but just don't attract my engagement that much. Well, maybe that's something. Every generation is different. Any other things? So, what do you wish at school will be different, that will help you relieve stress?
I think like one of my biggest problems that causes my stress is because I overthink things. Like the test I had recently on Thursday this week, I was extremely stressful. Like the entire week I was just thinking of that test, and then I take it and it just was not that bad. But like it caused me to stay up very late studying for it, which I guess paid off in the end, but I didn't need to study that much for it. Because I worry so much about the test, it's hard for me to sleep, so I have to stay up studying for it, which could have the adverse effect. Like I could fall asleep during the test, like that. It's very like risky sometimes. So like one thing for me is just to not overcomplicate, not overthink situations. So that way I also know I have limits when to stop and just let it be.
Right. And that's what they say called live in the moment. Just don't think, oh, I need to do this, do that, but rather, okay, if I'm trying to solve this question, trying to understand this problem, I rather just focus on getting this done. But I don't know, maybe because in my age now, my attention span even shortened. If I can do something 20 minutes without multitasking, without checking on this phone, that messenger, that email, that is already a lot. So especially during the day when I see patients, it's very focused because that's interacting with the patient directly. But when I try to do some reading, it becomes a lot harder to concentrate. Maybe this is the problem with the modern technology or the social media. So what I'm trying to do is just really try to focus 20 minutes, do something, and then get up and take a break, do something else. Even that 20 minutes quality time is going to get me very far.
Yeah.
But for you guys to study a whole hour after hour, it's hard. It's very mentally draining.
Yeah, especially for us. Wednesdays is when we like do a lot, like from like meetings to events to homework, study sessions. There's a lot crammed into Wednesday. But at the same time, I love Wednesdays because I can sleep in a little, like an hour extra. I get to hang out with my friends more. Like that's Wednesday's the day when everyone like does a bunch of homework. Like around the school, you see students in multiple study rooms, study sessions. So it's a very productive day, but also extremely tiring. At the end of it, you're like, whoa, we did a lot. And,
Very good.
Yeah.
So I hope weekday we work really hard. On weekend we do fun things that we love. That's how life is so enjoyable, right? Okay, that's how we combat stress. So if you have any question about high school about American family life, just write us comments and subscribe to our channel. See you next time. Thank you for watching.